Hello and welcome to SRC's first of 4 online HLA events. Tonight we're going to be talking to a couple of companies about HLA and the benefits of it, but we've got 3 more coming up launched during NI Apprenticeship Week on the 27th of April. My name is Brian McGee and I'm an Innovation and Technology Specialist. I work for SRC, working with small and large companies on both sides of the border, doing technical things with IT. I have been asked, I suppose you could say, by a couple of my colleagues on the HLA team, Michelle and Sylvia, to host this event. My arm was not twisted too far up my back though. They're very shy. In this event, we'll be discussing HLA employment offers and the programs and why companies would like it and why it's beneficial to students to do so. And we'll be talking to 3 of the leading NI employers about the opportunities they offer. A bit of housekeeping. We've already received a number of questions to put to our guests tonight, but if you have any others, feel free to add them to the Q&A. If we get a chance and they haven't already been asked, we will ask them at the end. In any event, the answers where we can will be online after the broadcast, although not immediately, as will a recording of this discussion. Before we begin, applications for the program will be open from the 1st of March. Details are in the HLA booklet available on the college website, and we'll be talking a bit more about that shortly. So without much ado, I'd just like to introduce my guests for tonight. First off, we have Julian Kerry from Randox. She's a senior HR business partner. We have Dr. Frances Weldon from Almac, and she's a STEM outreach manager. And we have Dr. Lillian Crummy from Norbrook, who's the director of science. We also have, and not least, Carmel Murray, who's the head of faculty for health and science from SRC. And she's going to be telling us a lot about how to apply and the technical details of getting on with the HLA. But first, I'd just like to invite the companies to tell us what company they're from, who they are, what they do, and what does the company do, and a little bit about themselves. So you can start with Jolene there from Randox. Could I invite you to come forward?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Brian. So yeah, my name is Julian. I work for Randox Laboratories. We predominantly are a medical diagnostics company and manufacturer, although at the moment we're very heavily sorry, I hope I'm on mute there. Yeah, so at the minute we're very heavily involved in the COVID national testing program and other elements of that. We've around 2,500 employees and we've been recruiting apprentices for the last 6 years. So we recruit them within mostly, I guess, science. However, we've also got some in engineering, finance and IT. So at the moment, I think we've had 32 apprentices overall, but 29 of them have been science from the Southern Regional College. And we will be offering all of those again in September, and we're hoping to take on 10 science in total, if possible.
Very nice. Could I come to Dr. Weldon and Almac?
Thanks, Brian. Hello, everyone. I'm Frances Weldon. I'm STEM Outreach Manager at Almac Group. So Almac is a global contract manufacturing and development organisation that offers a range of integrated services right across the drug development life cycle to pharma and biotech globally. Our global headquarters is in Craigavon, and we now employ over 5,600 staff across our 18 facilities in Europe, the US and Asia. So the services we offer range from research and development, biomarker discovery, development and commercialization, manufacture of the active ingredient of medicines, formulation development, clinical trial supply, and the commercial manufacture of approved medicines. So we've been involved in the Higher Level Apprenticeship program since 2016, and in that time also have recruited over 30 higher level apprentices, most of them again within the scientific arena, in the applied industrial sciences, a higher level apprenticeship in the chemical sciences pathway, and we will be recruiting apprentices in that apprenticeship again this year. But excitingly for 2021, we're also recruiting higher level apprentices onto the life sciences pathway. So both the chemical sciences and life sciences pathway of the HLA and applied industrial sciences, as well as higher level apprenticeship in mechatronic engineering and higher level apprenticeship in computing.
That's across the board then. That's very interesting. If I could get Dr. Crummy to come forward.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian Crummy, and I'm the Director of Science, which is effectively research and development, regulatory affairs, and the intellectual property side of the company. Norbrook Laboratories, we are exclusively a veterinary pharmaceutical company, and our headquarters here is in Newry, County Down. We also have facilities in Monaghan and also manufacturing facilities in Africa. And then we have sales and distribution networks throughout the world, US, Australasia, LATAM, and Europe. We have currently 2,000 employees, 1,600 of them based here in Newry, County Down at our main manufacturing facilities. And we offer a program whereby we develop products right through from the original idea, concept, right through the entire research and development, scale up through clinical trials, etc., and then into full-scale manufacture and release of the product into global markets. We've been involved with the HLA program from the very inception, and we're very, very fortunate to be part of the pioneer of getting the program up and running. And it's a very successful program. We've been recruiting apprentices since 2014, primarily in the science side and also, excuse me, in engineering. And over the course of that period of time, we have recruited more than 55, I think it is, apprentices over that time. We currently have at the moment 23 apprentices working with us in both the science and the engineering side. And all of the apprentices that we have had through the program that have moved through the HLA 4 or 5 program through to HLA 6 and then into HLA 7, which is the Masters. And they've all secured employment with Norbrook. So it has been a very useful program for the apprentices themselves and very rewarding, and also for Norbrook. And we will be recruiting again in the engineering and the science disciplines in 2021.
Thank you very much. And one of the questions we've had a lot of is how do people get onto that? So we're going to come to that now with, and last but not least, Carmel from SRC. Would you like to just give us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then maybe you could talk a little bit about how people apply to the program.
Well, good evening, everybody. Carmel Murray, Head of Faculty for Health and Science at the Southern Regional College, preliminary responsible for the entire science provision from level 2 the whole way up to the existing level 5 and our new developments at level 6. If you're interested in applying for these HLA programs, I can certainly confirm tonight that on the 1st of March, our application portal opens up for everybody, and it's available on our SRC website. And once you apply to the online portal, it's an online application form, you'll receive an email back, which will require you to fill out a little form called an employer additional information form. And when you fill out that form, you submit it. The form is a 500-word. It's about yourself. It's linking you to the industry, linking you to the field or the career you wish to follow. It's not your UCAS statement type approach, so it's a wee word of advice. It's about your work in that role or how you would apply for that. It's like applying for a job. So it's important that we approach that 500-word application in that way. And the tutor will help you. There's loads of online notes to let you get the best possible application in place. And then the college, SRC, will send it on your behalf to the employer for shortlisting. So it's click on SRC, fill out an online application form on our portal, and we take it from there and we'll help you through the whole process.
Sounds like it's pretty painless.
Well, it's certainly planned that way, but we're there to help regardless.
Considering when in the dark ages I was applying to UCAS for a university post, that's a considerably simpler process. I have a question that I'd just like to ask to the three company representatives, and it's really about why you chose to recruit this way. I mean, what was the benefits to you, and obviously for the graduate, what mainly was the benefits to yourselves? And can I start with Julian, please?
Yeah, of course. So I think before we became involved in the HLA, we got most of our recruits from university placements and university graduates. But then we quickly became aware that actually there's a whole group of really talented, ambitious individuals that just don't find the learning style of university for them, but can still achieve the same in these type of roles. So that's why we became involved in the apprenticeship, and we really seen that, you know, the college gives them the right training, the right, I guess, learning program, and we can give them all the practical. That means actually they can be really successful in these jobs. Plus, we can develop our own sort of talent pool, I guess, from the beginning. So that's sort of the main reasons why we became involved initially.
And yourself, Lillian, sorry.
Yes, probably to echo what Jolene has said. We first embarked on this 10 years ago, whenever we had identified that we had a skills gap. Like Randox, we also recruited primarily science graduates from our local universities on the island of Ireland or from mainland UK or beyond. And we recognised as well that there was an opportunity to deliver science and industrial specific bespoke programme in a different manner, because not everyone was suited to the traditional graduate programme. We also saw it as an opportunity, if we could get this model up and running, to actually harness a programme that was specifically meeting industry needs, and also then affording a rewarding career for the apprentice. So, as I say, 10 years ago we embarked on it. We worked with SRC, and then we engaged with University of Ulster, to initially define and design the programme and get that through the rigours of the various calibrations and matriculations that such courses have to go through. And we were delighted to get the HLA 4.5 up and running. As a consequence, we saw the need to develop that further, and I'm very honoured to be the Northern Ireland Sectoral Partnership Chair for Pharmaceutical Sciences. And we didn't want to stop just there at HLA 4.5, so we saw an opportunity to take this further from a foundation degree through to an honours degree in HLA 6. And recently we have also been successful working along with Queen's University in taking the progression pathway further to the HLA 7, which is the master's programme. So there's a really good progression programme from this HLA. And in doing so, we have found a really, really high retention rate from the apprentices certainly within our organisation. And it's really very rewarding to see the apprentices, students who start with Norbrook onto the HLA 4.5, actually learning, developing new skills, etc. And then not only getting academic knowledge through the academic element of it, but actually online practical skills, and then underpinning that knowledge specific to the industrial environment that they're working in. So that has only been possible through that excellent collaboration that we've had with the Southern Regional College, the University of Ulster, and now recently Queen's University. And that has been our driver, was to get that alternative pathway to get scientists who would also get a really rewarding career path and get all the necessary education, qualifications, and online on the job learning, so that they were a very rounded individual. And it's been a very successful programme.
Thank you very much. I think we might touch on some of those elements again down the line, some of the questions that we've had in from students, or from students indeed. Yeah, sorry. So maybe we could ask the same question to Frances, if you could briefly talk us through why you would have done this.
Well, really, the apprenticeship programme, it's a really effective way for Almac to recruit staff, enthusiastic apprentices, and develop talent from within. So from day one, our higher level apprentices are contributing to our business, making a difference, and it's just a pleasure to be able to support them and see them grow and develop their career with us. And as Lillian referred to, the progression pathways are there right through now, from foundation degree through to degree and on to masters. So all the while, the apprentices are, learning academically as well as in the workplace, and being able to embed their learning and grow and develop. So it's a really valuable additional route for us to recruit staff.
Nice. And yeah, the next question I have is basically about growing your own talent, and I think we've kind of touched on it already, but I'm going to come to Lillian on this. And I think that you talked about your involvement with the HLA pathway all the way through now to masters. Do you see this as a way to grow your own talent who are kind of inculcated into the organization's way of going, as opposed to bringing in someone who's got bad habits and having to retrain them? Or is that an unfair question? I suppose
that's an unfair question. I don't think we ever look at anyone as being bad and we need to retrain them. But I think we have taken, if I just think of some of the many apprentices that we've had apprentices who have come in at 18 who do need that additional level of pastoral care. We've also had mature students who have decided that they wanted to change their pathway and apply through an apprenticeship program. And we've also had more mature, I'm being careful with my words here, more mature individuals who have decided that they wanted to leave the workplace where they were and actually follow a scientific pathway. So we've had quite a dynamic group of apprentices. And I suppose to your question, how do we grow our own talent? Is it only to grow our own talent within our own business? We want to make sure that we give it the best experience for the apprentice. So the HLA program, as it is, allows us to rotate the apprentice across different disciplines, even within our company. So they'll spend time with research and development, and that's where you really learn your basic scientific research skills, etc. And then we also can rotate them into a more quality environment, where that is a quality assurance or quality control, which is more linked to a manufacturing environment and a manufacturing laboratory. So in doing that, they get a broad skill and a broad understanding of the whole rigors of good manufacturing practice, good laboratory practice, and quality management systems. What allows us to develop that skill, develop that talent, and also ensure that they've got broad breadth and depth as apprentices, and hopefully as future employees. Yeah,
yes, and that's we will come to that question as well, and I think that that answers the question very nicely about the idea that you're giving them a broad spectrum of experience, which again is one of the questions which has come up about how people move around. I want to just ask a slightly different question, which is perhaps kind of very interesting to students, particularly is, and I want to come to Julian on this one. How do you actually select your HLA graduates? Or students, I should say.
Yeah, so I guess in a practical sense, once we receive the pool of candidates from SRC, we will shortlist them. Now, in terms of our approach to that, if we get CV or applications through and all of the students have met the educational criteria, then we do tend to set aside the time to interview everybody that has met that. And I don't ever want that to be confused with that we're not being fussy and we're just giving anybody an interview, and that's not the case. I think at this stage in education and employment, looking at an application form can be very difficult to really get a sense of that person and what their qualities are and their strengths are. So we tend to give everyone the opportunity to, I guess, talk, in person or probably this year on Teams, but really to put across their personality and what their career aspirations are and what they want to get for this apprenticeship. So we do tend to, if people meet the educational criteria, we tend to give them all that opportunity to do that. and showcase themselves. What we like to see always, and this probably goes for all the companies, is always do your research on any of the companies you're being interviewed by. It can be a bit of a pet peeve if someone hasn't looked at the background of the company and what they do, and so make sure that we want to see people in front of us who've done that research and have a good reason and are passionate about why they want to do the apprenticeship. We also do a very short chemistry test as well, sort of 5 to 10 minutes at the end. So overall the interview is about 20 minutes, so it's nothing too strenuous. But yeah, they would sort of be the overall things that we would be looking for.
Thank you very much. And I have sort of coming to the other end of the process then, if I could ask Francis this one, what opportunities does the apprentice have for progression after the apprenticeship is completed?
Well, there's a few different options that the apprentice can consider, and we would hope that apprentices would continue their employment with us, and there are, you know, lots of career progression pathways that are well defined within all areas of our business. If the HLA wishes to continue with their education, again, there are opportunities to do that, either as a HLA, as in the Applied Industrial Sciences, through the level 6 qualification at Ulster University, and then on to level 7 if they so wish, and they'll be supported at every step of the way. Or there could be opportunities to do, you know, a part-time study or, you know, full-time study, and go on to progress if they wish within an education pathway. And at Almac we have a further and higher education policy, so that, you know, staff are supported if they wish to continue with their education. But either way, it's really within the gift of the higher level apprentice themselves to make the best decision for them. And you know, we will obviously discuss that with them as they come to the end of their level 5, what they would like to do, find, you know, what area of the business they're most attracted to, and try and support them so that they can progress their career.
Well, thank you very much. And that, I mean, that obviously sounds very nice and ideal, in fact, I would have thought. On the back of that, and you touched on this, I'd like to come to Lillian and ask a slightly different question about an aspect of that is about the support and training that you offer. And I think you've already touched on some of this, but if you could just bring it out a little bit, you know, especially for the progression and even progression out of the company, what sort of support do you offer, hopefully to keep people in the company, but do you offer to your HLAs as they go along?
Okay. Well, I suppose the first thing is starting with an incoming HLA. We would be very conscious that, as I mentioned earlier, they could range from a young person, 18, through to a more mature person. But either way, what we look at is we ensure that there is the appropriate level of mentorship. So first of all, we have what we call a pastoral mentor, which is a member of the Learning and Development Department here at Norbrook. So they're there to support the apprentice with regards to any personal related matters in relation to just any general concerns that would have. They have an academic mentor assigned from the Southern Regional College, and again, that's to deal with any of their any concerns they have at an academic level. And then, because with the apprentice they spend 4 days in the work environment and 1 day in the academic environment, they have to have what we call an industrial mentor. So every apprentice, as they're assigned into a department, are given a mentor who will ensure that they get all the appropriate training, because we all work, Randox, Almac and Norbrook, we all work in a very regulated pharmaceutical environment. So all of the apprentices are trained in all of the appropriate procedures, SOPs as we call them, policies, etc., relating to the pharmaceutical industry. And as they go through, they're given projects, and they work on those projects in conjunction with their mentor, their industrial mentor, their academic mentor. So they get a lot of support as they go through and as they're learning. As Francis has mentioned, they have the opportunity in Norbrook as well to embark on the HLA 6 and then onto the HLA 7. And if the main reason there for us as well and for them is that offers them that opportunity to progress academically as well as continuing to work with ourselves. We hope to have employees as a consequence, but we do hope that at the end of it, we have very well-rounded individuals who are ready to work in the pharmaceutical industry, no matter where that may take them. People may have life choices that they want to move to a different country, etc., but they're well set up through this program to be scientists and reputable scientists and reputable industrial scientists. So that's how we do it. We make sure that they have all of that one-to-one care from the various mentors that they have. And we also, I think it's important not to lose sight of the fact that we develop their soft skills as well, because some of the most important thing of an employee as they're moving through the ranks and as they're developing as a person is that they have that soft skills, and we do that through a myriad of in-house training programs and or external training providers.
I think anybody who is maybe of an older generation, a bit like myself, or a little bit older than me, might recognise that level of one-to-one mentoring and support from the older apprenticeship schemes, and it certainly seems like that would be a very, very intense and very well managed system. You're definitely going to come out with master level skills, is what I'm trying to say here, which is the ultimate goal of any of the older apprenticeship schemes. I have a question here for Carmel, if I could just come to you, just about how SRC have built this and had this sort of apprenticeship success we've had in science within the sector. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, no problem. We've been working with the HLA since 2015, so we're in our 6th year right now, and yes, we've managed to do some great things, and all obviously possible because of the 3 partners here tonight. None of this was possible without that tripartite arrangement where we all work together with the HLA, with that student, to bring them through from the entry point right through to progressing to higher level, level 6, level 7, and successfully employed within industry. As simple as last year, one of our apprentices last year herself progressed to complete a degree. One of our higher level apprentices went to a degree, graduated, and recently was awarded the British Education Award. So that was quite a unique accolade, certainly for an apprenticeship in this area. In addition to that, then the Southern Regional College and Norbrook gained the DFE Employer Innovation Award, and it's really recognising the excellence in design and delivery of the apprenticeship training. I suppose another one is the apprenticeship. One of our HLA students competed in the Laboratory Techniques Regional, National World Skills Heats, and is now representing the UK and is a member of the squad for World Skills in Shanghai. So that's very exciting. You know, the fact that we've even tapped into these exciting, we'll say, competition areas, getting a position on the science field in a worldwide platform. We have already had, through the 3 employers here tonight, 105 science jobs created, with 11 jobs across other HLAs, and we did talk about the other HLA environments in the college, and certainly HLAs over a variety of areas. For example, the new ones in digital construction and digital marketing and advertising, and there's new developments going on in hospitality, but there are a wide variety of offerings within the college suite of curriculum. But more importantly, I suppose, in the world of science here, and with my particular excitement, on the 5th of May, we expect to have a bit more positive news, certainly for SRC, where we'll be able to offer our own level 6 honours degree, part-time and full-time programme in applied industrial science, which means people, you know, can have many options then for progression after HLA. They'll have the Ulster of the Queen's, and they can stay within SRC to do it as well. So we'll know on the 5th of May if all our hard work, and certainly thanks to the partners here tonight, all of us coming together to put more options out there for students moving forward. So yeah, so it's great success, Brian.
Absolutely, and that sounds like great news about the level 6. I know that in my own past, I attended more than one college. I won't explain why, but I understand that, you know, moving around is a good thing up to a point, but at some point it becomes disruptive. Staying in the one environment and having that continuity has got to be good. And as a feather in our cap as well, the ability to deliver that, and also all those world skills things. And I've seen that coming up year on year, that we've been actually placed or winning some of those things, and that's down to the quality of the training. I'd just like to take a step right to the beginning again and come to Francis here. What advice would you give to a potential apprentice considering a HLA?
Well, Jolene's touched on it already in a previous answer. I think the most important thing is to do your research, both into the course that you're considering doing, as well as the potential employers. And really, before you start writing that 500-word application, think about why you want to do this, and understand what you're getting yourself in for. It's a great experience, but it needs to be something that really suits your aptitude and your passion, which is the most important thing, because it's a keenness and an eagerness to learn. It can be tough juggling study and work, so you need to make sure that your circumstances and personality and so on lends itself to that. And rest assured that you'll be, by all the employers, supported every step of the way in doing that. And remember that the employers work hand in hand with Southern Regional College to ensure that you're being looked after. So for example, you know, if there's an assignment that you have to do, but you know there's a project that needs to be completed at work, that's a conversation that the employer can have with SRC and make sure that, you know, if you need an extension, you're given that, and so on. So you really are supported every step of the way to achieve your potential and your learning outcomes. I mean, a higher level apprenticeship is a great way to, you know, earn as you learn, you achieve financial independence, you develop your knowledge and skills, you know, academically as well as in the workplace. You develop, as Lillian referred to, those all important soft skills, the transferable skills that all employers, no matter what discipline, seek. So, you know, it's really worthwhile doing your homework and your research, ensuring it's the right path for you, and then just go for it. That's, you know, the ultimate take home, I think.
Thank you very much. I think that the point about the fact that you're having to work on your qualifications while you're working is very important. I think that in some regards, university students might consider, well, I don't have to do that, but then, and my own experience and those of the people I know, they end up working jobs anyway. So I think that the difference is that it's part of the process with a HLA, whereas when you're at university, it's kind of an add-on. And I think that there's more support for it in the HLA, and I think it's a better thing. We're going to run a little. Oh no, sorry. I have one last question, which is kind of a random one, but it's been asked a lot, and I think I'll just pose it to Jolene if you don't mind. And that is, and then we're going to run a little video, and then I've got some questions that have come from the floor, and I'm going to do those after this video. But first of all, Jolene, the question is, what are the hours of work?
Okay, so with ourselves, our hours of work standardly are 8:40 to 5:20, so it is 8-hour days, 40 hours a week. Now the 40 hours includes the day that's set aside for college or studying as well. We do have some shift patterns within the business. However, we tend to try and keep our apprentices on our standard working hours, just because a lot of our business units follow those. So like the training departments and the HR department, that type of thing. So it just means that all of those support functions are here for them during the time that they're here. So standardly it would be 40 hours a week and 8 hours a day overall. Okay, as simple as that. Thank you very much. Okay, and therefore the same as anyone else, effectively. So what we'd like to do now, we've got a video where we have a student who's talking about how they've got on, and after that we'll take some questions from the floor.
My name is Jill. As a higher level apprentice at SRC, I've since come right through the programme, and I now have my bachelor's degree in pharmaceutical sciences through Ulster University, and I've recently been promoted within the company to senior analyst. Before joining SRC, I studied my A-levels at Portadown College in chemistry, biology and physics. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after A-level, but this option had many different progression routes.
The higher level apprenticeship with Norbrook Laboratories seemed to be a good option to go for. She was going to be in a job from day one, gaining work experience. She was also going to be learning on the job, and as well as earning money.
Norbrook, as a veterinary pharmaceutical manufacturer, we have a lot of skilled roles in which we struggle to fill within the business and within the local area as well. The higher level apprenticeships have allowed us to bring in local talent to fill those roles. We have had 35 higher level apprenticeships to date, with nearly a 100% retention rate.
The benefit for me has been earning while I learn. So I was paid a wage to complete my full bachelor's degree. There's been no course fees, no student loan debt. It's a debt-free degree that my friends envy. The experience I have gained has also been invaluable. It's allowed me to progress my career, and I've been able to move through different departments within the company and get a broader range of how the company works overall as a pharmaceutical industry. The experience that I've gained has been invaluable. I now have 5 years experience in the pharmaceutical industry and my full degree completed. This has allowed me to progress within my career. I've had 3 different job roles whilst I've been here. In my free time, I'm a member of the gym. I like to keep fit. I like to see my friends, meet them for coffee. I also love to go on holiday, and this HLA programme has allowed me to be financially able to do so.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted with Jill's achievements to date. She's actually been given a promotion in Norbrook as well, which is fantastic. So really her achievements have surpassed all my expectations.
From working within the pharmaceutical industry, I've been able to see the many different options available and the different avenues that I could take. So I look forward to exploring a few more of those.
And I think some of the points made there were extremely important. The fact that not only was she able to get all the way to her degree and beyond, but she also earned money the entire way through and didn't have to go out for another job to top up, and was able to see her friends and do all these things, which as a student you probably can't do these days because you're working at the weekends or whatever. I have a few questions from the floor, and then we're going to maybe take a few more questions that have just come in, but a few that came in originally. I want to ask, who will I ask? I'll ask Julian. Are there any opportunities for biomedical research?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is that our opportunities are not shut off at all for apprentices. So initially we would start most of the apprentices within a manufacturing quality control type environment where they're doing something a bit more routine. We have had some second years who have moved into, I guess, research and development roles where they still work in a team, but they have a bit more of an independent role within that team and the project. So we find that for the first year, really, it's better to be in a support where you're doing and learning more routine techniques. And then if that person has the right strengths and showcases those, then we would move them on to a research project along with other graduates and other existing staff, just to give them I guess, an insight into that and what it's like to work on a research project. So certainly not within the first year, but certainly is something we have done within the second year, yes, if someone's getting on well.
Very good. So essentially the opportunity is there to do more or less anything within the company.
Yeah, I mean, we've never shut anything off to the apprentices. We've like the other companies, we have nearly 100% retention rate, and some of those now are in senior scientist, senior analyst roles. And unless you asked, I don't think standing an apprentice beside one of our graduates, you would know the difference. Certainly we don't treat them any differently. They do the same work. So certainly if they're a good apprentice and they put all they have into it, then there's all those opportunities there for them.
Excellent. And that question is going to come up in a minute. Actually, in fact, right now, I want to take this to Francis. Someone has come forward and said, why would they consider an apprenticeship over a degree? Specifically, aren't they viewed better later on in life?
That's a very good question. What I would say is, well, first of all, with the apprenticeship route, you can attain a degree just the same, but you'll attain a degree in a period of a BSc honours in a period of 4 years, while all the while working and gaining 4 years experience, whereas a straight academic degree without an industrial placement, it's a 3-year BSc honours, but you're entering the workplace as a graduate without potentially any work experience under your belt. And I think it's also, you know, later on, as you go, once you step into industry, you're not so much judged, as Jolene said, you know, by your academic qualifications. You're judged on your ability to fulfill the requirements of the role, you know, your on the job performance and experience, and really, you know, employers look at, you know, the performance of the employees and their ability, and, you know, encourage you know, promotion and so on that way. So it's never a case of, I think, you know, at this stage as a student, you might look, you know, comparing a degree versus apprenticeship, but really they're both, you know, equally valid pathways. I think it's down to what's right for you in terms of your learning and you know, circumstances. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that once you're in industry and working and performing, then, you know, nobody asks you what was your qualification.
Very good, and I think, yeah, the experiences from some of the people we've talked to and some of the people I know is, you know, essentially if you're hands-on and ready to get hands-on, then getting hands-on is the thing to do. If you're pure academic, just really want to do that research project at the end of it, then there's a route there. But no one I've talked to has said, oh, you've got a level 6. It's a level 6, unless it's something else, MIT or someone. I have a question here for Lillian, and this is very, very germane at the moment. How have your current apprentices coped with the impact of COVID-19 on both their college and work life? And I think maybe we can Karma will touch on this one as well after.
Yeah, sure. Excellent question, incredibly current, and I think we all know there's been huge challenges with COVID-19. If we look at it from our perspective, all of our industries, all of our companies, Randox, Norbrook and Almac are considered essential workers because we're delivering medicines, whether that's medicines for human or veterinary or diagnostics, or you've heard Jolene talking earlier about and Almac are also involved in the overall COVID programme. So we as a company, Norbrook, very conscious of the need to be in front of this where possible, not for all of our employees. So we did significant depopulation efforts initially to ensure that those staff who could work remotely, we had the appropriate IT infrastructure so they could work entirely remotely from home. The remaining staff who, by their very nature of their work, who are perhaps laboratory based or manufacturing based, had to be on site, and that would have included the apprentices who are working along with their colleagues. We put lots of measures in place, from ensuring all of the appropriate social distancing, all the appropriate communications. We had regular communications. That was one of the key things, is making sure that our staff were aware of all of the new measures that we were introducing. Norbrook was the first company in Northern Ireland to use online antigen testing on our staff as well. We introduced temperature sensor monitors at every site. Everyone goes through temperature monitoring every single morning to measure our temperatures, etc. So we put a huge amount of infrastructure in terms of making ourselves COVID secure as much as possible. And our apprentices were treated just like a fellow employee, because we had a duty of care to them as with any employee, and we're all in this together, to quote the old the old sayings. So the responsibility for adherence to our COVID policy, we just reiterate that, communicate it, and as far as we can see, our apprentices have coped admirably through the entire COVID pandemic, working alongside their colleagues in Norbrook. And then I'll probably let Carmel talk about how they have supported the academic side, as much of that has been virtual and remote. So maybe if I could bounce that part to Carmel, if you don't mind.
No problem, Lillian. Thank you. From the SRC's perspective, like any education establishment, we've also had to introduce and ensure that COVID compliance was at all times maintained, and social distancing, and we redesigned classroom layouts, and we approached to many were going to attend in a room at a time and so on. So when we were able to get students on site, we did so in a safe way. And in particular with the science apprentices, we made sure that the employees from the 3 plants, or the 3 areas here tonight, were never together mingling, to certainly to protect any possible cross-contamination that could occur as they were coming to and from a college environment. So we've done particular active measures to make sure that the numbers were low in attendance, to make sure that we were doing all the COVID requirements, and also making sure there was no crossover between the plant, staff, which is the normal practice actually, because everybody attends on the one day in the one to the one classroom setting. In addition to that, we did fully online, so all of our lessons and lectures are all online if and when you cannot attend on site. And at this moment in time, we're presently delivering everything online. It's fully remote. Obviously, we have a requirement that you must come on site to do your practical elements. But we have rejigged how we're delivering the programme so that we should be able to go back in on site, fingers crossed, sooner rather than later. And then we will be able to invite small groups of students in to do practical activities and then continue their theoretical elements online. So there's a real hybrid and a very rapid response to the needs of Northern Ireland and the health authorities, requiring us to go completely remote or partial online or come in and do practicals and vice versa. So, it's been quite very successful to date, and the students are responding very well with exceptional pastoral care and personal tutoring, with the lectures on Teams and using the whole online platform. We've got our VLE, which is our virtual learning environment, where all the notes are placed, where students can access all the material. There's online chats, there's email support, they're making telephone calls to each other, and then of course the live lesson delivery. So there's a whole suite. It's not just one method, and we make it work for everybody. And I think it's been received well by the apprentices at this time, considering that we're in full remote delivery. And certainly we plan a very, very soon future, as soon as we're allowed, that apprentices will come back on site for practical activities and finish out this academic year with a nice positive experience in the college and our state-of-art facilities that we have there. So hope that helps.
Yeah, let's hope we do get back to face-to-face at some point in the new term. I think currently there's a move to get all the restrictions removed by June, but some other people are saying, we'll be wearing masks till at least next year. So we will see, I suppose, and I suppose Norbrook is in the forefront of doing the testing, so maybe they'll know. I have a lot of questions. We've over 30 questions have come in as we've gone along. So I'm going to ask. We appear to have lost Lydia, and I'm going to ask just a few of them at the moment because we are pushed for time. What I will say is that the questions will be published later on, and answers hopefully as well will turn up on our website. And we may tackle some of these again at the Big Apprenticeship or the Apprenticeship Week. So if you don't get answered tonight, tune in, it will be answered. But first one is for Jolene. There's a number of questions about the actual chemistry test that you mentioned. Is it based on A-level chemistry? Is it based on any specific thing? Is there a way to revise for it? What sort of level is it pitched at?
Yeah, so we would class it as A-level. So we've kept it at that point because we believe that anyone who has done their A-levels or has done any of their BTECs or further sort of applied sciences or chemistry subjects with any of the colleges, then these are questions that they should know and have recently gone through. There's 10 questions in total, and you know, like one of the questions on it would be the different, I guess, chemical signs or warning signs. There's maybe 4, and you would have to say what you believed all 4 of them meant. So we do think it's at a level that any of the students should know it. We don't purposely try to make it difficult. It's just to really get a sense of, do you have the very sort of basics and do you remember them? Also, you know, we do mark it. However, it doesn't have to be 10 out of 10. We you know, we will obviously look at the answers and we will put those against how someone has performed in just answering our questions, and we look at both elements of it. So it's not, I suppose, as simple as us saying, if you didn't perform very well in the test, then you're out of the race as such. It's just an extra element that we have in the interview process.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, there were at least 6 questions about the test, so I think that rattled a few people, possibly more, in fact, because there's a bunch I can't even see. Another question then that I was going to ask is, and Carmel maybe can answer this one. It's essentially, when are the interviews usually held? During which month, and when can people apply? I know that the applications are opening in March, but how soon after that will people start to get interview dates and things?
Well, it's as simple as soon as the forms are applied, the initial application form is received, and then the second form is emailed out to the candidate, the potential applicant. As soon as we get those completed 500-word, I suppose it's a 500-word of about yourself and who you are and why you want the job, we send them straight to the company, and then the company themselves will arrange the interview. Obviously, we will not be arranging the interview. Certainly, we wouldn't find out about the successful position until obviously the applicant themselves hear about their success. And therefore, it's really reliant on, and maybe the industry here could probably give us some maybe more of an idea, but certainly we'd probably be looking towards the summer months. Certainly from a college's perspective, to get the applications in and start to help those learners or help the potential learners complete the 500 words and give them wee help and support to get them ready for industry review. But certainly we're processing on a continual basis, and it's about opportunity to interview really at the industry. So if anybody'd like to jump in, certainly.
So maybe I could ask Francis that one.
Yep, so that's, as Carmel said, you get support in completing the form, but the applications are sent to us, I think it's the 1st of July, and all the companies receive them at that point, and then we will invite candidates for interview. Upon successful completion of an interview, you are given a conditional offer of a place as a HLA, and then pending your A-level results coming out. So A-level results day is the next kind of big date in the calendar, because upon attainment of the required UCAS points and grades, you'll then have your conditional offer converted to a firm offer, and you'll be able to start your employment and your course in, usually it's the first week in September. So it happens very quickly. So there's an intense intensity of activity on the employer's side to get the interviews done, usually, you know, July time, certainly no later than the 1st or 2nd week in August, and then A-level results day is the next day. So it's yeah, it's good.
No summer holiday for you then?
No.
I have an interesting question I'm going to put to Lillian here, since she talked with us already. It's come up a few times in the questions. Can you start with HLA 6, or do you have to do 4 and 5 first? I'm assuming people might be coming in with already having some sort of qualification of some sort. So maybe they're hoping to.
Yeah. And I have to, Francis and Jolene will correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm trying to think of the programme at the moment. We haven't had anyone who joined the HLA 6 who hadn't come through the HLA 4-5. The embryonics of the entire programme was the HLA 4-5. It's a natural progression pathway through to the honours degree and then now to the masters. The masters has been opened up to a certain level, in that the HLA 7, shall we call it, or 6+7, is opened up to employees, provided they meet certain criteria, and HLA 6. But no, I have not encountered a situation where we have been able to, or felt it was appropriate to join at HLA 6. Typically HLA 4-5, you progress, having met the appropriate criteria, through to HLA 6 and then onwards to 7. But 7 is now opened up to employee and or HLA 6s. If that's not, hopefully that answers your question.
It answers the question I have, and again, the question was anonymous, so I'm not really sure who posed it, and literally just said, "Can you start with HLA 6?" We'll assume that answer will have to do. Thank you all very much. I just think we should wrap it up now. It's nearly it's 7:25. We've run over a little bit of time, run over quite a lot of time. Thank you for staying, and thanks for everybody for attending. I'd just like to thank Dr. Weldon, Dr. Crummy, and Jolene for their valuable time this evening, and of course Carmel and the team behind this, Michelle and Sylvia, and Sarah and Ashleen for running the video so well and sitting patiently through the entire process many times over. Thank you all very much indeed. I'd just like to wrap it up by saying, remember that the applications are open from the 1st of March. And go to the website. The details are in the HLA booklet on the college website. And thank you very much. Good luck, everyone.